Chip, I hope you don't mind going back and talking about Wild Thing and
Sure.
how that transpired and kind of the history of how that evolved, because it's been such an important song for so many people.
Well, here I was. I was in that space where I was able to come to work every day and make my couple of bets and sit there as comfortable as anything, just with my guitar. And one day I got a phone call from a producer, record executive named Jerry Granahan. Jerry said to me, "Look, Chip, I know you're writing some country songs, but I hear you're writing some good rock and roll songs, and I've got a band that I have to record in a couple of days, and I tell you the truth, I don't like all the songs, and I'd like to get a fresh one. Do you think you have something you can send me over?" I never met the guy, but I knew of him, and he had a nice reputation. I said, "Jerry, geez, that's so nice of you to call me. Let me just see if I can write something for you today." So I put the phone down, and I just, right away, I think it was 12:30 or 1 o'clock, and I was feeling so good about somebody asking me, and I was just looking out the window and banging away on these chords, and it just came right away. It's just this little thing to spark from the phone call to my strum to feeling good and looking at a pretty girl out the window, and there came Wild Thing, and I had a demo scheduled that day at 5 o'clock to do a country song, but I was afraid because I didn't read or write a note of music, and there were no tape recorders to save things back in those days. So I was afraid I'd forget it. Even though Wild Thing wasn't quite finished, I had a chorus, and I knew I wanted to stop and say something, but I didn't know what I was going to say. I decided I'd just do that demo at the studio. The studio I did it at was Dick Charles' studio, where Carole King did all her demos and recorded Little Eva's Locomotion and all those things. And I called my engineer, Ron Johnson was his name, and I said, "Ron, I'm on the way over. As soon as I get there, have my stool set up and microphone ready, and when I sit down, Ron, turn the lights out. I don't want anybody seeing me sing this thing." And so I went over there, and the lights went out, and I sang Wild Thing, and I just let it go on, and stopped and said things, and stopped and said things. Then listened back, and I said, I kind of like this. Let's edit here and edit there, and we went in the back room and edited and came out and listened to it. It was 3 minutes and 20 seconds or something. I said, Now I went outside, and I started banging on things on the floor to get some little feeling, and we had a board there where I stomped on with my feet, and that sounded good. And Ron started playing this thing with his hands like you have a blade of grass in it. He was just doing it as the track went by, and I sounded like an ocarina. I said, "I like that. Hey, Ron, let me hum you something." And in this part, I hummed him a little melody, and he did as close as he could get to that melody, and that was Wild Thing, just this little sounding like an ocarina solo in it. And then that record went to the Trogs. The other guy recorded it. Jerry Granahan recorded it. But he recorded it he didn't keep that same cool little Wild Thing groove. He did a typical kind of blues record, which was a nice little record. But the Trogs did it exactly like the demo. And then Jimi Hendrix heard the Trogs record and loved the Trogs record. And so I was blessed to have the spirit of Wild Thing straight from my guitar from that little session came out in the Trogs record and then came out in Jimmy's record. So somebody asked me the other day, is there one definitive version of any of your songs that you would say, yes, that's the one? I would say it would be some combination of the Trogs and Jimi Hendrix because they recorded it in the same exact spirit.